What's up, y'all? This is Dr. Jewel, and I am so excited to partner with Yes Lord Radio in my new radio show, Ask Dr. Jewel. I'm a doctor of nursing, a professor, a clinician, and your go-to for all things pertaining to mental health, mental wellness, and mental illness. Look, y'all, just call me America's MHS, Mental Health Specialist. So look, you all, it's time. It's time to get your minds right with Ask Dr. Jewel. What's up, y'all? How you doing today? Lady VJ Bold in the house. What's going on?
Jewel, how you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing all right. We are in our new season of ADJ, and we're going to hit the topics.
Can you believe it?
Oh, my goodness. Time flies, you all.
When you having fun.
Oh, my goodness. There's so much to talk about as it pertains to mental health, mental wellness, and mental illness. And so today's show is going to be a buster, man. This is going to be a little harder show, okay? But you know what? We can't tiptoe around it. We got to talk about it. We got to be about it, all right? And so we're going to talk about when people want to end their lives. We're going to talk about suicide. All right. I just got a call this past week. My little brother is out on a cruise. He is a frequent cruiser. Okay. He is always cruising. He and his wife. I love him. Shout out to him. He texted us and said somebody jumped off the ship. I said, what?
My Lord.
He said, this is the first. He was like, in my experience, he was like, somebody jumped off the ship. He said the ship turned around, went back 2 hours to try to get this body, couldn't find it. And, it was just devastating.
That's so
and so
dramatic.
he played, oh my goodness, you are actually going on a cruise. Thousands of people on the boat, and you decide you're going to jump. Y'all, it is hard out here. People are ending their lives. They are doing it in ways that we're like, are you kidding? What is going on here?
But Dr. Jewel, listen, when you said that, I just thought about it. You said thousands of people are on this cruise ship. Most of them are happy, right? Most of them are having fun.
Yes.
And all of this positive energy around them, but yet they feel the way they felt to make them want to jump.
That's right. There you go.
That right there is like, it's mind blowing to me.
Look,
But
hey,
even though it seems uncommon, it's not uncommon. Since in doing research, since 2014, there have been about 14 deaths by sea, meaning they jumped.
Man. So this isn't the first. Nope. This has been happening. You all, it says that every day, approximately 132 Americans die by suicide. All right. Suicide is the 11th leading cause of death in the United States. And in 2021, 48,183 Americans died by suicide, you all. This is major, all right? And then the highest suicide rates are among white males, all right? But it's followed by American Indian, Alaska, and Native males, and then black males, all right? And then Latino males. Y'all, this thing is real. We have got to start talking about suicide, okay? And it says that there is one suicide death for every estimated 25 suicide attempts. So baby, people are attempting, they're failing, all right? So, one suicide death per 25 attempts. Y'all, we have got to stop the attempts. We have got to stop suicide. Y'all, we've got to talk about this. We got to expose this. We've got to get help for those people who are struggling with wanting to end their lives, and the families of people who, and the loved ones of people who are encountering these people who may want to end their lives. How do you talk to somebody who doesn't want to live anymore? How do you engage these conversations? How do you know? Look, we have seen people like, Ella DeGenerate's with Twitch. We have seen people who appear happy
Yes.
And on the inside, they are lower than low. They want
They're
to
tortured.
end their lives, you
Yes.
all. It is a dark place to be. We cannot act like it doesn't exist. And yes, it is happening amongst believers.
Right.
And
Yes.
yes, and okay, did you learn somewhere that you can't be forgiven for suicide?
I did.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was
How about
taught
you,
that.
J Bo? Did you learn
Yeah,
that?
until I realized that is not in the book.
Come on, that is not
The
in the
unforgivable
book.
sin is really blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
Hey,
That's it.
glory. You
I
better
thank him for
say
learning.
that word.
Yeah.
All right, you all. So we're going to come back on Ask Dr. Jewel. We're going to chop it up about the one thing that we don't talk about. We don't like to talk about it. We going to talk about it. We going to pull the cover off of the topic of suicide. So come back. Let's talk about it on Ask Dr. Jewel.
Time to get right.
What's up, y'all? We are back on ADJ, and look, we got to talk about this thing. We are talking about the subject of suicide. That thing that nobody wants to talk about. We definitely don't want to talk about it in church. So we have got to deal with it, all right? And so you know what? I'm going to pass the torch. I'm not the torch, the baton. That's what I want to
Thank
say.
you.
I'm going to pass the baton over to you, Lady V, because you have a real life story, personal story
I do.
about suicide. And somebody may need to hear it, because guess what? Nobody is immune to this tragedy. Nobody, honey. It crosses color, socioeconomic. Look, it can be anyone. It can be the CEO to the person who is drug addicted. It can be anyone, you all. This thing is not a respecter of person, all right? And so, Lady V, will you share with us your experience, your personal experience with suicide?
Yes, I will. The person in my family was actually my brother, and he was living in Texas, and he had married a nice German lady. We'll just call her that. And so he lived in Texas with his wife, and he had two beautiful children, absolutely beautiful children. And so I think it's a lot that's going on with that situation. However, to get to the bulk of it, so the wife actually wanted to adopt some kids. She wanted to go to Russia to adopt some children. Well, my brother actually had children from another marriage, so he had quite a few kids. So to adopt, he just kind of didn't want to do that. So she pressured him and was like, go. Well, lo and behold, one day my brother found a letter that basically was a plan. So the wife wanted to take him to Texas, wanted to take him to Russia to have him killed. So he figured that out. He left and everything. He left the home, he left the marriage and everything like that. So they had shared custody. So one Sunday he went to go pick up his kids, and the wife would not let him get his kids. Now my brother loved his children, all of them. All of them were loved. And so him not being able to get his children, it made him furious. He was outraged and things of that nature. He went a little bit too far, and so he got the pistol. He went in and he shot his wife, and he wrote a letter to his family and said, I am a black man in Texas. I will never get a fair trial. So he turned the gun on himself and killed him. The children were there. They ran out of the house and went and got a neighbor. Per the police and the neighbor, they said, hey, they ran over and said, help us. Daddy just killed mommy. So this was devastating to me. It was the oldest of our family as far as the children were concerned, of my parents, of my mother and father. And so he was the eldest brother, and there was so many unanswered questions, like why. I do remember probably months before that happened, me begging him to come home, because they had been going through marital problems anyway. So it was like, why don't you just come home, leave her, we were saying everything just to make him come back home, and he didn't do it because he didn't want to leave his kids. So unfortunately, that's how that ended.
Oh, wow. I am so sorry to hear that. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. There are many people that are probably listening to this show who may share similar stories of suicide. And then there are people that don't have the answer of why. It's still a mystery. Like, why did this person who had everything that they had going for them in their lives, we never suspected it. We didn't see it coming. And so the thing is that we've got to talk about it. We've got to deal with it. You know, the mindset of individuals who are contemplating suicide can just vary widely, you know, depending on the circumstances, the experiences, and mental health condition. Because a lot of people, you know, there are people that commit suicide who have underlying mental illness that everybody kind of overlooks. They could be very powerful in a particular arena. You know, they could be a CEO. They could be you know, someone in sports. I mean, someone who is very highly esteemed, yet and still they have a mental health condition that has not been diagnosed, that has been overlooked, or it may not have been overlooked. It's just been tolerated or has not been touched. You know, because there are some people that I call them untouchables. You surround yourself with yes people because of your power, position, and authority. And so therefore you stay there. All right. But you know, there are some common thoughts and emotions about people who want to commit suicide. So we're going to talk about those. And we're also going to talk about some of the myths around suicide. Okay. So let's talk about that. So, you know, you just said something, Lady B. Basically hopelessness. You know, you've got to look at people, you know, who are hopeless. When you are hopeless, honey, that can kind of like spiral. All right. And so hopelessness is often a hallmark of the mindset of someone considering suicide. They do not see another way out. Their coping mechanism, everything is off. All right. And they believe that their current situation or their emotional pain at that time will never get better. They do not see light at the end of the tunnel. They see darkness. They are in a dark hole. They do not see themselves climbing out. And as a result of that, hopelessness becomes their state. And they're like, I would rather not be here. You know why? Because my life is hopeless. I have nothing anyway. And so let me just not even go through the daily routine of living this life when I don't believe it there.
It's trying to dull that pain. It's trying. You're hurting so bad that the only other option is to take yourself out of that pain.
That's right. You know,
silence the voices.
Oh my goodness. You know, the intense emotional pain that you feel it's just something that you cannot explain. You know, you see it a lot in severe depression. You also see it in people who have anxiety, and also you see it in people that suffer from loneliness. And they just overwhelmingly become consumed by these emotions, and they just can't see, you know, any relief from it, you all. So I'm just kind of dealing with the signs and symptoms of, you know, people that may be prone to commit suicide. So if there is someone in your family that you're starting to hear, you know, they're talking negatively. We talked about that on the last show. We talked about people, you know, being pessimistic, just negative. All right. I need for you to definitely pick up on that. All right. Have a pulse for that. All right. Also, people, you know, a lot of people commit suicide to escape from suffering. All right. You know, in their minds, you know, there's only one relief. Like you said, Lady B, there's only one way out, baby. Let's just end it. And they believe there are no other options. Okay. They believe that they have exhausted every option. They have lost their options for problem solving. Okay. And so, you know, they believe that suicide is their only choice. Another thing, you know, they lack a positive perspective of their future. Y'all, they cannot see.
Right.
Some of the most brilliant, beautiful, amazing, talented people commit suicide because something in life is life and at this moment.
Yes.
But they don't see the beauty, the amazing giftedness that, they can't see that. And so, you know what? When we start seeing people going down that spiral, we have an opportunity to let them know, honey, this is just today. This is not your tomorrow, honey.
Right.
That's why when people make mistakes and mess up and we jump on them, pounce on them, and we've got to watch. I'm not saying that you just let things go. You correct people and love people too, but you don't let them feel that is all that they are. That mistake is attached to their identity and they will never lose it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
There is always hope. That's why we give people the gospel, y'all. I mean, we on Christian radio.
Well,
We've got to let people know that there is nothing that you can do yesterday, today, or tomorrow that'll mess you up so bad that God can't use you for his glory. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to deal with that thing, you all. So again, and then some people, y'all, are just impulsive, all right?
Yes.
Some of these young people, they're like, I'm just going to kill myself. And do something so irrational. They're just impulsive. They don't stop to think about I'm just going to jump. And then they think about it like, what was wrong? Like, I never meant to do it. Sometimes they survive it and sometimes they don't, And so, and then also one other thing, I just want to throw that out here and we're going to chop, suicide can also be viewed as a way to get some control. You know what? I've been powerless over everything. So the only thing that I can do right, I can take my life.
Yes.
You can't do nothing about that, all right? You can't watch me all the time. You can't, so I can take my life, you all. So look, it is important for us to know and note the mindset of people contemplating suicide. Lady
Dr.
B, you got
Jewel,
something?
it is one more thing that, a sign and symptom that you should watch.
Come on.
If your family member, loved one or whatever, starts just giving away stuff, if they just, and they're not old, they're not an older person, because sometimes in your family, the older folks say, hey, I want you to have this to remember me by. They pretty much think because they think their day is coming. But if they're a younger person in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, and they just start giving you stuff and you're like, wait, well, why are you giving this? Just take it. You want to be careful with that because a lot of times they're wanting, at this point, they're letting their legacy, linger on, but they're trying to leave.
Come on now. You
and when and listen to how they're talking.
Oh, come on.
And a lot of times when we are in church, but we still think about doing that. Well, God said that there's going to be better days ahead and heaven is my home. This earth ain't my home. You start listening to people.
That's right.
Listen to people.
That's right.
A lot of times people are talking and we just aren't listening.
Oh my goodness, we are not present. Come on, Lady B. I mean, you are telling it. You just dealt with some signs and symptoms, some things that we need to look out for, talking about it. People be like, I wish I was dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or I just can't go anymore. I just can't do this. I just want it all to end. I mean, so those are you better listen to those things. And guess what? But if you're so absorbed in yourself and you're not present, then you will miss these subtle signs. Like I tell people too, I'm a family practitioner as well as a psych provider. And I tell people, when people have a heart attack, oftentimes, massive heart attack, oftentimes there were some signs and symptoms before you had the big one. You feel me? There were some signs and symptoms. You were feeling fatigued, sluggish, you were having some chest pain, you thought it was indigestion, you started taking Tums, all stuff like that. I mean, there are some signs. Well, I'm telling you, with suicide, there are some signs. If you see that you're adolescent, okay, because that is a major age group. You are those adolescents, those young adults, you better look out for them because they have the highest. It's the second. Look, suicide. How would you say? Would you bullying? Oh, come on now. Let's talk about it, J Mode. Bullying is major in these schools. I have had more young people come to the clinic devastated by bullies. How are they bullying y'all? It ain't just like when I was growing up. You know, you had that one over, come on, social media. People rating you on Instagram, pointing out your faults, taking, I mean,
and now with the phones being, you know, whatever, honey, they videotaping you doing something. You could be in the locker room changing and somebody's videotaping you. And if I'm already having issues with my body and self-image, and you now put me on Facebook or whatever, that right there could cause me to lose it.
And I'm so devastated. I know where my daddy's gun is. I know where my mama's pills are.
Yeah.
And I just go, I am so overwhelmed by that one incident that I recklessly just take it in my entire life because I can't see past that one social media post and everybody looking at me. Y'all, this is real. And then let me tell you another thing that messes me up too. Let's just talk about it right here. These parents that know that their children are bullies.
Yeah.
Yet they allow them to be bullies, and as a result impact negatively and traumatize other children and young people. I mean, there's a responsibility there. We have got to do better in that. When did we become so mean and that cynical that we allow our children to negatively impact the lives of other children? You'd be like, well, they just need to get over it. They need to be strong. No, your child needs to not be mean and realize that, you know, especially when you're developing your sense of identity, who you are. I mean, those are very fragile mental milestones. Okay?
But wait, Dr. Jewel, what do you tell that parent whose child is bullying them?
Ooh. Come on now.
I'm just saying, because even though, and I hear you, there are some parents out there that could control that and be like, no, you get yourself in here, you know, that type. But when you got that parent that is like, well, I don't know what else to do with him, honey. He at home throwing stuff at me and bullying me. Then what do you do?
You know,
how do you help them?
You know what? My son told me to do a show on bad kids. I laughed so hard. He said, Mama, you need to do a show on bad kids, bad teens. And I laughed and I was like, do we have to use the word bad? You know, but the thing is that challenging is the word. Absolutely challenging. And so, you know what? Let's say that, Lady D, because we got to talk about these bullies, people bullying parents, abusing. I mean, hey, we got a whole lot to talk about, okay? But I'm going to come back to suicide, all right? So you said one thing, giving away belongings, okay? When this person starts giving away their possessions, you're like, why are you giving me this? Look, they could be saying goodbye, all right? When they start talking about, you know, I'm feeling trapped, or you start seeing them using and abusing drugs a little bit more, they drinking more, they're getting into car accidents. Next thing you know, they totaling their car.
Self-injurious
You understand what I'm saying? Come on now. You know, when you totaling 2, 3, 4 cars, all right, and you know, and like, you know, you just kind of like, wait a minute, hold on, and they have an excuse for it. Some of them may be one in their lives. You need to get them help, okay? You know, when they're sleeping too much, they're losing interest in activities, things that they like to do. I just don't want to do it anymore, all right? You know, and they start expressing hopelessness. Man, life just don't matter no more. It just don't matter. I don't matter. You've got to take the time to listen to that, all right?
They stop eating.
Come on.
That's
now.
one.
Well,
Come on. Or, this is one right here. Or if they were depressed and then all of a sudden they start getting real happy. Sudden changes in behavior. All of a sudden they're like, woohoo. You know why they woohooing? Because they got to check out date. They got to check out date that they got an appointment with. And they're like excited about it. Y'all, I'm telling you, you don't want to hear about this maybe, but this is real, you all. And then if they have a hit, let me tell you something. You know how we look at DNA and we look at family history?
Yes.
Honey, if you have someone in your family, especially a first relative that committed suicide, look at the children.
Right.
Okay, look at it. What could be, is there an underlying mental illness? Is there something that could have been, look at that, because the stats show that if you have a first degree relative that did it, there may be a probability that, you know, that other relatives may do it as well, especially if they're first degree relatives. So I always ask, is there anyone in your family that has committed suicide? Okay. Also, you know, if you see poor work performance, changes in their grades, if somebody loses a job or loses someone or something, that they really love and cherish, you all watch it, okay? Because these people may be prone to taking their lives.
Changes in the appearance too. Now, somebody who
now.
usually keep their hair and nails done, now they walking around with stanky clothes on and looking crazy. It could be a sign. That could be a cry.
Absolutely. So you all, if you know someone that is experiencing any of these, you know what I'm saying? I need for you not to be afraid to talk about suicide, okay? We got to take the sting out of that, because some people think if I ask them if they're going to commit suicide, then that'll make them commit suicide. That's myth number one. Ding, ding, ding. That is a myth, you all right?
Right.
Not asking them is the problem.
Right.
If you think that, you may say, hey, have you ever thought about ending your life? And if you say it in a non-threatening kind of way, they may say, you know what, I really don't want to be here. All right. Don't be afraid to get the truth, but ask it, because you may be able to intervene. And then if they tell you, this is it right here. If they tell you that they don't want to be here, or they want to end their lives, y'all, please don't start preaching to them.
Right.
Please take the time to listen and let them express their feelings without judgment. I do not need y'all to be like, you got everything to live for. Why you want to end your life? We love you. You got your family. You got everything.
You can't go to heaven.
Baby, come on now.
My goodness.
Come on, y'all. Y'all start going off,
deception.
going in on them. You know
Lying
what I
on the
mean?
Lord.
Y'all stop that. Stop that. You've got to learn how to not personalize this.
Yeah.
If someone tells you
not
they are
about you.
hurting like this, it is not about you. It is about them. It's about you triaging them, getting them the help that they need, so they don't jump, they don't hurt themselves.
Right. And believe them.
Come on.
Don't sit up there and just, she just playing, honey. Ain't nothing wrong with her.
Oh.
No, believe them. If someone comes to you and they serious enough and they're making it a point to say, listen, I ain't trying to be here no more. I'm finna kill myself. Don't just shoo them off. Yeah, brush it off like it's, whatever.
Oh, I'm gonna throw this out here too. If you have a adolescent, a young adult, and all of a sudden they start talking about hurting themselves, and that child has never done that before, you better start doing some investigative work, baby.
Yeah.
You better make sure that child has not been touched inappropriately,
Right.
that something traumatic did not happen to them, because that's what I see. Usually when they start going to those extremes is because they're hiding something and trying to lock up something that they don't want to expose, okay? They will rather end it, go into a depression, and hurt themselves than to let you know what's going on and expose the other person. So if you see someone who is cutting and self-inflicting harm on themselves, you need to get them professional help. Get them mental health help, okay?
Speaking of help, there is a number that I just found out about, 988. And you can call that number, you can text the number, and there are folks who will help you, whether you're having suicidal thoughts or even if you're just in crisis.
Absolutely. Thank you, J-Bo, for that. There is help, okay? There are suicide
Can you repeat
hotlines.
that number?
Come on, J-Bo.
988.
That's it.
You can call it, or you can even text and someone can respond. Even if you don't feel like talking, you can have some text back and forth.
That's right.
For some support.
Thank you, J-Bo. Thank you for that. And if you know somebody who is actively considering suicide, please do not leave them alone.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't leave
That's
anybody with a
someone.
heart attack alone.
Right.
Don't leave them alone, okay? Because that person is in immediate danger. That is just like having a heart attack. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You call 911, you get all the help, okay?
Even if they insist that you leave them alone.
Come on.
Don't
You
leave them
do
alone.
not leave them alone,
That's
okay?
right.
All right, so I need for you all to really take heed to these things, all right? Suicide is real, all right? We have to take the sting out of the conversation. There are two types of suicide. You know, you have suicidal thoughts, all right? Some are passive, some are active. The active one is when a person is saying, I want to end my life. They have the means to do it. They have everything in place. They have a plan, baby. That is serious. That is high alert. But you also have people with passive suicidal thoughts. That means that they just don't want to be here, but they have no intentions on killing themselves, okay? But both of them you need to deal with. But the active, you better make that a 911, okay?
Right.
There are people that live with passive suicide. They're like, man, if I die tomorrow, I'll be good, okay? I have people that have been like that for years.
Yeah.
Will we get ready to say something, J Bold?
No, I'm just.
But you gotta be careful
really
with that
resonates.
person though,
That's
because
right.
that's that person who will say, "Well, I'm gonna just take one little pill extra. I'm gonna take one other Percocet. I've already
Come
taken."
on.
Yeah.
And then that's when it can happen,
Man.
because you've overtaken
That's
the
right.
medication that was prescribed to
That's
you.
right. That's right. So look, this is what you got to do. You got to listen, you all. You got to stay calm. Don't be tripping. Don't be going off. All right. You got to ask them directly. Are you thinking about hurting yourself? Don't leave them alone and get them some help, you all. All right. And so look, take it seriously. This is a serious matter, you all. Suicide is hitting all of our households, you all. If not a friend, a family member, someone we know that committed suicide. We've got to deal with this by talking about it and exposing it. So look, you all, thank you for being here, listening to us. You know, we hope the show was helpful. JB, Lady V, thank you. Yes, Lord Radio, shout out to you. Thank you so much for giving us this platform to get the news out about mental health, mental wellness, and mental illness. So you all, look, it's time. It's time to get your minds right, y'all.
Right.
Look,
Let's
with
get right.
ADJ.
Oh, yeah.
Look, you all, suicide. What's that number again, J-Bo?
988.
Amen. Peace.